Up quick, you know what I mean? Great day, world. Welcome back to the channel. This is the Corey Webster Experience. I am C Webb, Corey Webster, your host, and we jumping back into it like we never left. A lot has been going on. NBA is going on. NFL draft has started. We are down one round and still have, 7 more to go. We also have a lot of chatter in the news about, it's been a crazy week, or would you say it's been a freaky week? It's like Freaky Friday, freaky week. It has been a freaky week. The stuff that happened with Shannon Sharpe, and not too long ago, one of our queens dropped the interview with former First Lady Miss Michelle Obama and her brother Tracee Ellis Ross sat down and talked to us. So we got this is observant podcast show right here. I'm an observant podcaster. So I observe things, I hear things, they come by, in different ways, but, we're going to give our perspective on it. Look, it's just only our opinion, only our perspective. So it is what it is. Did you know my middle school PE teacher passed away? I didn't know that. I recently found that out. So Coach Triano and his family and friends, our condolences, our prayers go out to you, man. You was a cornerstone in our community and being a part of our village. You taught us so much. PE wasn't just PE. A lot of PE classes now you could go to, all you got to do is dress out and you get, whatever grade. But this gentleman here, he really made us know every sport, the dimensions of the court, all of the rules of each sport, from basketball, baseball, soccer, volleyball. He was also my basketball coach, middle school basketball coach. Actually, we won a championship too, middle school. We don't talk about that. I think we went 32-0, middle school, 8th grade year. And we beat, I know many now want, we beat the high school that year. We beat the JV team, not the varsity, but we beat the JV team from high school. The 9th graders came to our place and we played them and we sent them back. And then when we went to pay, you play one game at home, then we play one game at their place. When we showed up, they had the JV team out there ready for us, but they got BTA too. So that was a great year for us, my 8th grade year, But shout out to Coach Triano, man. He taught us so much, jumping off the stage, learning how to flip, learning how to fall. He was also a sensei. He was a black belt. And he taught us so much. So I didn't know he passed away. So recently, somebody informed me that he passed away. So I just want to shout him out, man. There's a lot of lessons that I learned. I think you taught my sisters as well. Originally from New Jersey. He had that New Jersey accent, being down in South Louisiana. But I wanted to give you, your flowers as well. I know you've gone to a better place, but also wanted to pay our respects and give our prayers and condolences to your family. What you got, Queen? NBA. Let's talk about the NBA. You got Boston up on Orlando Magic's 2-0. They'll be traveling. You got the Knicks, Detroit. Knicks up 2-1. It's a lot of scuffling going back and forth in that game. Look like these two historic franchises. Both have won. They always had, a lot of good basketball players, a lot of good basketballs among them. But I like the physicality of that game right there. The going back and forth and things of that nature. That kind of shows you that it's playoff basketball. Cleveland, they up 2-0 on the Heat. I don't think they're going to sweep the Heat. I think Cleveland playing well, but I don't think they're going to sweep the Heat. Milwaukee and Indiana, they're tied. That look like it's going to turn out to be a pretty decent series in the future. And in the Western Conference, get your broom ready. You got your broom ready? I think OKC, they was down by 26 points. I think it's the second largest lead that somebody was able to come back from and win the game. Obviously, Jai went down with like a hip point injury, hit the ground kind of hard. So hopefully that's not a lingering thing there. But I think you could break out the brooms. I think OKC is on a mission. I think Chant Holmgreen, if I say his name correctly, I think he had like 23 points in the second half. He only had 1 point in the first half. I think in the third quarter he had like 17 points, hit like 5 3-pointers. That's just a tough matchup, 7-3. And I think, the center for Eden, he has to come out and guard that. from not only being a rim protector, but have to go out to the perimeter to guard it. That's hard for another 7'2", 7'3" guy. He's another. So that's hard. And he's a rookie. So that's a matchup that's, it's an issue trying to be a rim protector and trying to guard the guy outside the three-point line. That takes a lot of activity, skill, and wittiness. So I just see him bringing out the broom. You got LA Clippers, Denver. I think this is going to be one of our best series right here. I think it's going to be one of the better series, especially if these guys can stay healthy. Clippers lead the series right now 2-1. I think this is one of those series that can go the distance. And I think whoever wins this game can make a little noise in the Western Conference. I think they're going to challenge some other teams too because they're going to learn a lot about themselves in this series. But this series right here, I think is going to be one of the better series. Minnesota Timberwolves, Lakers tied. If the Lakers don't show me adjustments, this other ways to score, other ways to get Hayes involved, I think the Lakers in trouble still. And then you got Houston up 2-0 on, is that right?
Yes.
2-0. And they traveling too. So it'd be interesting to see how the Warriors handle their home court advantage. You know what I mean? And can they win on their home court and then steal a game out in Houston? But Houston is playing defense. And, again, Jimmy Butler went down pretty hard. So it'll be interesting to see if playoff Jimmy could return back to being what he once was in the previous three games, the play-in game and the first game. But, if it's not a healthy Jimmy Butler, it's going to be hard to get over the Houston Rockets. It's going to be hard to get over the Houston Rockets with Jimmy Butler, but definitely without him, I think Golden State, we have a problem. So individual stuff, man, you got Jalen Brunson scoring 33 points a game. You got Giannis, averaging about 15 rebounds a game. Halliburton, he leading in assists. He dishing it, getting everybody involved. At three-pointers made, you got Derek White, Steph Curry, obviously, and Donovan Mitchell leading with about 4.5 between Steph Curry and Donovan Mitchell. And, leading the bunch is Derek White with 5 threes a game. So, neither here nor there. NFL draft. Shedeur Sanders did not get drafted. Were you surprised?
A little.
I think a lot of people were surprised that he didn't get drafted. But, hey, hopefully we find out the reason why he didn't get drafted, and hopefully this also make him even more motivated to, continue his legacy. You talk about legendary, and this too, I don't think this is stopping him. You know what I mean? We read that he didn't get drafted because of off the field issues. It had nothing to do with his on. No, this is what it said. It said Shedeur Sanders did not get drafted because of on field production. It didn't say why he didn't get drafted. You know what I mean? I don't know if they trying to say he have off the field issue things, but we have never heard this kid get in trouble. We don't know if it's because of, his daddy being who he is, his daddy having, the type of career that he had. But to me, it's not anything different than, I always compare it to Archie Manning, Peyton Manning, Deion Sanders, Shedeur Sanders. So we have seen this before, you know what I mean? And Deion said he was going to be a guy that was going to stay out of the decision-making with his son's future. Archie, obviously, he said he was going to be involved in it. He said that he didn't want his son to play on the West Coast, and, they got what they like. So I don't know what else is going on. There's not a lot that's being said. There's a lot of people talking about how maybe cocky he is and stuff like this. I can tell you right now, he's not the most cockiest person in NFL or in sports. Every individual have a level of confidence, cockiness that, that makes them who they are, that gets the fire going. So you got to give me another reason than that. And you can't tell me he didn't do anything special, because he is special. Being able to read coverages is special. Being able to read coverages and get the ball out fast is very special. I know a lot of guys that have played in the NFL that cannot read coverages. And that's a special thing. That's an IQ like no other. So he has a very special IQ and understanding of football. So it'll be interesting to see where he, goes at in the draft. Shout out to my LSU guy. He got drafted. 4th overall, Will Campbell, offensive tackle. LSU still putting him out there. And the Giants, they got a couple of picks out there. The Giants got a quarterback. They also got an edge rusher. So it looked like they're filling in some much needed need. Look, I got my giant stuff on it there. Don't trip, you know what I mean? But, it'll be interesting to see how the whole draft play out. We got, 2 more days of it. We got Friday, we got Saturday, and, it'd be interesting to see how those guys, all make it out, you know what I mean? Anyway, hey, look, guys, you're living out your dreams. Hey, take this very seriously, you know what I mean? Lives are being changed, families are being changed. Be responsible with it. My prayers go out to you and your family. Know that, your hard work is paying off, but this is where the work starts at, you know what I mean? Don't just, rest assured on getting drafted, you know what I mean? Now that you're there, hey, the flag is back at the bottom of the hill. You got to start climbing your way back to the top. So pray that you can do that, healthy and well. Have the mental fortitude in order to, overcome the adversity situation that you will have, in climbing back to the top of the mountain. But know that there's a lot of guys that went before you. Tap into those guys, those mentors, so you don't have to make the same mistake that they made, whether that's financially, whether that's on the field, whether it's off the field, whether it's with your relationships and things of that nature. Tap into your resources, all right? And with that being said, you talked about dating. We recently talked about dating, man. This dating thing is getting crazier and crazier by the second. We talked about earlier, Tracee Ellis Ross sat down with Michelle Obama and had a podcast interview, and just some of the things that she was saying on the interview, and maybe this is a way that you can go back and look at those interviews and say, okay, I can learn something about myself. You know what I mean? She talked about being aware of herself and being whole and, and living the robust life that she lives. So hopefully, some things in a relationship, I have a problem with. I don't think toxic and masculinity goes together. And she put those 2 words together, you know what I mean? It's a lot of toxic femininity out there as well, but we don't have that as a term. So anytime I see a person, not just a woman, anytime I see a person use the word toxic masculinity, it kind of just throw me for a loop, because there's no such thing. There's bad individuals out there. There's bad women. There's bad men. Remember, we both have feminine traits. We both have masculine traits. Some choose or have more than others. And that's just what it is, you know what I mean? And it has nothing to do with your sexual preference. So when she said that, it's always, alarming to me, because I feel like it's an excuse when an individual use that, you know what I mean? So why she's 52 years old and not married, doesn't have any kids, I feel like she's pointing the blame on men her age being toxic, masculine men. And I don't like to generalize the term. Now, if you had a bad, issue or situation with an individual, then that's that one situation, you know what I mean? That's not every man out there that's over age that's toxic and that's putting out bad energy. I don't like to generalize those things. I hate those things. And I don't like to use the word hate, but that's one of my pet peeves. She also talked about her being a unicorn. How many unicorns have you saw out there? I'll wait. Okay, time's up. You know what I mean? We have never saw a unicorn. Everybody's unique. God made us all with a different footprint, different fingerprint. We all are unique. We all are special. That's how he made us. So for one to think that they're more special than somebody else because of what they have, their path, their process, what they have done in life, that's neither here nor there. It's not true. It's the same thing for me when I was talking about the argument that everybody wants to have between like stars. And what I mean by stars, I'm talking about LeBron James, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Bill Russell, right? They always like to argue about that. I can't see the argument in it, you know what I mean? Because all those individuals should think that they're unique and great. The same when they went to the whole cornerback deal with Deion Sanders and Ashanti Samuels. Both of those individuals just think they're great. Now, me thinking that I'm great, I don't have to think that I'm better than anyone. I can be great in my own right. I can believe that I'm the best in my own right, but I don't have to think that I'm better than anybody. Me believing that I'm the best, I think people confuse that. Me thinking that I'm the best, me believing that I'm the best, they confuse that with thinking that they're better than other people. I don't think that I'm better than anyone. I just think that I'm the very best. So I feel like even in dating, or even in, what you have done to be a man or a female or whatever the case may be, you can feel like you're the very best mate. But you don't have to feel like you're better than anyone. And I just feel like it came off her talking about being a unicorn, and that she felt like she was better than something, better than, maybe she's a better catch than other individuals out there. And that's not necessarily the case if she was saying it that way. You feel what I'm saying? Yes, you can be an attractive young lady. You can, work hard to achieve the things that you have achieved, but that doesn't make you better than anyone. You feel me? That makes sense? Also, what really confused me is she talked about she's in a place where she doesn't want to raise or grow up or groom a man. She's past that. She's beyond that. But in the same breath, the same interview, she talked about dating younger men. And she also jabbed at one time, she was having this interview with Michelle. One time, Barack said, well, why? And she kind of, flirted with, because I can date younger men. So you can date younger men, but you can't tell me you like dating younger men because they're sexy or they look a certain way. Your words, not mine. But then say you don't want to groom and grow up men. If you're dating younger men, what are you doing? Right? Whether you can or cannot, you know what I mean? And I just think that it's a mindset that really and truly, she talked about being a unicorn. It's a lot of women out there that from a distance we can see that's in that same type trap with looking for a man and, wanting a man that's gonna make her life better. What does that mean, make your life better? You know what I mean? Because they kind of compare it to a woman. It was like, well, I don't want to be a woman that's just told what to do and don't have any, don't have any, decisions that they can make for themselves. I think we confused about traditional women. You know what I mean? And women that we call traditional. I don't think all of them are created equal. But I think there's a lot of women out there that was independent. Doesn't matter your profession. Made a decision to be independent and also made a decision to be a wife. And also made a decision to raise a family and to be submissive and all those other decisions that they made to their husband. I don't think it necessarily have to do something and give up something. You know what I mean? If that makes sense. I know a lot of women that are career-driven women that still had families, that still are great wives, and they didn't have to give up something. And I also saw some women that sacrificed what they needed to sacrifice in order to accomplish what they wanted to accomplish in what they call a family setting. And that's okay for them too as well. And if Mr. Tracee wants to be single for the rest of life with no kids, that's her prerogative too. But I just don't like the fact that we're going to push a narrative that men her age or older are toxic masculinity, as well as the younger men understand that because they are gender fluid, what she said, gender fluid. Mm-hmm. And that just tell me that's a young mind that may not understand exactly where they are or doesn't know their self well. But you can't have a man, you can't think that you're going to have a man that's going to protect you, provide for you, right? Make your life better, understand who they are, and be aware of all these things, but also have more feminine traits than they have masculine traits. That's a unicorn. And I'm not saying that those people are not out there, but, that's hard. You know what I mean? So maybe just don't generalize the whole thing. You know what I mean? It's your preference. If you like your life and you live in a room, maybe you were meant to be by yourself. Or just maybe you made a decision to be by yourself. And that's okay too. That's your decision. That's your choice, right? They even brought up some Roe v. Wade, the whole, political standpoint for women being able to, create and talk for themselves, which has been an issue, you know what I mean? But not for nothing. This has nothing to do with her dating life. You know what I mean? You choose to be what you want to be, right? When you, as a woman or a man, you choose to be in a relationship, and you have to make that choice over and over again. Don't forget, love is a choice. Love is a decision, and it's to be made over and over. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to commit to, just like you have to commit to waking up and working at your craft, Whether you're an actor, whether you're an athlete, whether you're a business person, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're a teacher, if you want to be good at it, great at it, you have to get up and work at it. Same way with a relationship. You have to make that decision every day. I'm committed to this relationship. I want to make this relationship work. There's nobody out there that you just, check off every box for you. I know we, say, man, God has someone out there for everybody. And I do think that's true. But the only person that's perfect is who? God. You know what I mean? That perfect person doesn't exist. Right? That perfect person is probably working on themselves to be a better version of themselves. So, rest in peace, Kevin Samuels, because Kevin Samuels said this about a lot of these individuals. And look, maybe this, since it's been a freaky week, Tracee Ellis like to, younger men. And I don't know which older man would be out there for Tracee Ellis, but she's 52. Unc is 56. She like to date younger men. Unc dating younger females. I see it's one and the same, just a female version of it, a male version of it, right?
So you're suggesting that they should get together?
I mean, they should know, entertainment, sports, entertainment, podcasting, being an analyst and things of that nature. They both in their 50s. They both look like they can be attractive individuals. Uncle look like he's still on his workout game. She look like she's taking care of herself well. Look like a match for me. I'm no matchmaker now, you know what I mean? They made, Uncle was recently living in LA, moved to, Nevada. So maybe they bump into each other. She said she don't use dating apps, so maybe they bump into each other working out. But, if that ain't a guy that's, or a female for both of them, you know what I mean? Monique tried to tell him, Kat tried to tell him. He had a bunch of warnings about, Kat, Monique. He also talked about another comedian that was dating a 23-year-old. Like, why didn't you go after her mom? That's 3 warnings for you. Kat tried to use the Jonathan Major. Monique tried to use, hey, you need a girl that's going to cook for you, rub your feet, make you feel good, drink your cognac with you. I don't know if Tracee Ellis had any friends or acquaintance that set her down like Monique and Kat did to him, but I don't know. You guys be the judge, man. I think they both wanting to date these younger people and they're looking for excuses to date these younger individuals. And I think the excuses is a little manipulation, right? For Coach, I'm calling him Coach, I'm sorry. For Unc, Shannon Sharpe, he looking at it like, yeah, a lot of women may not go for that, Unc, you know what I'm saying? Not older women that seasoned, they may not go for that, you know what I mean? So, getting a young, impressionable young lady that's 19, 20 years old, yeah, she could be googly-eyed, right? Vice versa. An older man ain't gonna go for that. An older man that been around, that's creating for himself, that then, been messed over, that the messed over individual, Tracee Ellis, he ain't gonna go for that. So you may need a younger man to be able to manipulate so you can get what you want out the deal. So, but don't make any excuse about it, and don't generalize these broad topics about toxic masculinity because you can't find what you want out here, or you're not willing to sacrifice. What are you willing to give up? Because, it's also a sacrifice. It's a decision that's going to be made, but it's also a sacrifice. What are you willing to give up? So if it's things that you're not willing to give up, like your career and your, independence, what's there left? What are you willing to give up to find this man or to meet this man, and y'all can grow and build together? So I pray that both of those individuals get what they want out of life. I pray that they find their soulmate and that they can live a robust life, whether it's together or I'm just using that to create an example that, they're around the same age difference. So they could do it independently, but I hope they get it together and they can find their soulmate and live a beautiful life. You know what I mean? So with that being said, y'all get in the comments. Let me know y'all thoughts on all those topics. You know what I mean? Hey, what's too young to be dating? Because I do think it's kind of freaky to be dating people that's the same age with my son or with my god kids or things. I just find it freaky. I'm sorry. That's just my opinion, right? I'm not saying he's guilty of anything. I'm just saying my moral compass don't agree with it. Vice versa, even with the women taking advantage of a young, impressionable mind, I'm just not with it. And so y'all get down in the comments. Let me know what y'all think. Also, playoff prediction. Let me know what y'all leaning, which side you're going to, as well as NFL draft. Should Shedeur Sanders have been drafted? Who would have drafted him? Is the NFL wrong, or the individuals that put out the stereotype that he's hard to work with, bad interview ever wrong? Do those individuals have names? Do we know who they are now? Y'all get in the comments, like, subscribe, turn on your notification bell, and, stay tuned to the channel. I appreciate you guys. Y'all have a blessed one. We out.